Hi students, just a quick addendum to the videos that we have available for our conversion of binary. In class, I will have spoken to you about the need to indicate which type of numbering system we're using, and that being either the decimal or the binary systems. And it's something that unfortunately wasn't talked about in the original videos on both the class conversion process and also in the video about how to do the worksheet. So as I promised in class, I was going to do a quick addendum to help remind you. So the idea here, of course, is this first number here, 367, we know is a decimal number, but we need to technically indicate that, especially when we're using multiple numbering systems. So the way we do that is by putting a little 10 down here in the bottom right corner, just after the number. And that, as I talked about in class, means that we are using a base 10 or a binary numbering system. So we do that by, at the end of the number, putting a 10, which obviously makes the number look wrong. But what we now do is we highlight the 10 and we go up to our home menu if we're not already in the home menu of Word, and we find this little icon here that is the X with the lower 2 next to it. That's actually called subscript, but if we click on that, it has the effect of taking our 10 down to half the size, but also shifting it down a little bit. And that now indicates to anyone reading this number that this numbers 3, 6, and 7 should be interpreted with the base 10 numbering system, or basically the place values that we use for decimal, where everything is a 10 value higher. Now, in a similar way, we need to do something with these numbers down here. Looking at these numbers right now, we think they're going to be binary, but that's really only because you know in these classes right now we are doing binary. But there's every chance that those numbers could be 10,110. So again, to make sure that people know that they are binary, we're going to do the same thing and put a 2 this time at the end and use our subscript. So again, to the home menu, find the font area and use our subscript to get a little 2 next to it. And that 2 now tells us that we are using a base 2 numbering system, which means binary, the 2 possible values, 0 and 1. So now we are 100% certain that those 1s and 0s that we can see are not 10,110, but in fact the binary values 10110. So it's very, very important that as you do your work at the moment, even though the original videos didn't say so, that you include the 10 and the 2 like they're shown here in their appropriate places, so that someone reading your work or yourself later on knows exactly what they need to be. There are also plenty of other numbering systems also used in technology where these 3, 6, and 7s could mean something else as well. So it is very, very important we do it for both the 10s, which is our normal decimal numbering system, and the 2 for our binary system. Now, what does that mean for your work that you're doing right now? So if I go to our worksheet, and again, here is the example that was done. What should really be added here is a 2 at the end of our binary. So I want everyone to add a 2 going down this left-hand side in your binary with our subscript. And technically over here for our answer, we need to add a 10 also in the subscript. Now you notice when I tried to add that in, it moved a little bit. That's fine. Let's put the subscript in. And if we need to, we're just going to make some space by moving something back. So you might find you have to edit the worksheet ever so slightly to make room for those things to fit in. When I do my next question, so if I look down here, the quick and easy thing to do is just add them in. So I'm going to put a 2, I'm going to highlight it and subscript it. Oops, I missed it, sorry. Do that again and subscript it, that's better. A 2 in here, highlight it and subscript it. Okay, and just make sure you get them all set up. And the same over here, when I do my answers, you notice how things have moved, so I can move them back. Just move that back a little bit, move that back a little bit. But when I do my answers, I'm going to add this 10 in as well. If you need to adjust, again, very quickly, just to remind you, if you put a number in here, for example, and then you want to put the 10 on the end and subscript it, there's a small chance it might not be big enough to fit in the box. So again, don't be afraid if you need to adjust the sizes of the box a little bit, or even adjust the size of the fonts. But again, just try and keep it roughly in the same place that the original worksheet shows. But if you need to adjust ever so slightly to allow things to fit in properly, then of course you're absolutely welcome to do so. But I want to see the 2s where we have binary and the 10s where we have a decimal number, so that we have now been completely accurate and showing the base 2 for binary and the base 10 for decimal numbers. So thank you everyone for that. Again, this is something we'll have gone through in class, but this quick little video is just to remind you about the change compared to the videos that are on the class page, in case you're referring back to those for some assistance.